start again. It's a redskin.
Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl BinkiBianca with some more blog talk, and today we're going to be talking about Taxstone. Now, for those that don't know, Taxstone was an up and coming hip-hop podcaster a few years back. He got into some legal trouble concerning Troy Avenue, and he's actually been in jail pending trial ever since. It's been probably about 6 years now or so. But anyway, he made a post on Instagram referencing one of Troy Ave's associates who apparently was talking about the incident. So let's take a look at that, and then I'll come back with some more background.
Serious, bro. We talking about niggas knew Tax was going to T.I. call Ave to come perform. You know the streets, the streets in New York who was strong, and it was the people that was with Ave, which is me and my brother and them. Facts. I didn't go that night. My brother was supposed to be going to a boat ride. Av called him, because niggas knew dude was gonna be in the building. It wasn't no bullshit. Niggas ain't running from no smoke. He saw him, and that's what happened. But he went there that night with all intent to hold his man.
Okay, now there is a second video slide that is part of this Instagram post. But before I actually played that clip, I thought it would make sense to go ahead and read Taxstone's caption from this Instagram post. So this is what Tax said. "These dudes that got me in jail, the dudes that came to get me, got me in jail, a effing fake ass activist, Sean Duke McFatter. Meanwhile, this F-boy been painting a narrative for 6 years that I came to harm him. I didn't even know I was going. And if I would have seen his name on the flyer, I wouldn't have went. I've been avoiding these roach ass N-words. But now he decides to snitch on himself and say they knew I was there." So now I'm going to play a clip of Casanova, who is an artist that Tax had actually met in jail, and he was actually helping to get his hip hop career off the ground. Casanova was on The Breakfast Club, and he actually discussed a bit what happened that night. So take a look.
You met Tax in jail too, right?
Yeah, I met Tax in jail.
Now the letter to Tax, everybody talking about that. Why is Tax so important to you?
Tax is important because he kind of one of the reasons why I kind of didn't want to be gangster no more. Like, he always used to tell me, stop going to these mixy places, stop being around these mixy people. Like, if nobody trying to better you, stay away from them. Go here, go by yourself. Go
Tax,
with your
my
lady.
brother, you should have took your own advice.
Right, I was gonna say.
You,
yes.
He ended up in a bad situation.
So crazy? The bad thing about that is why I'm really hurt is because I told him to come out with me that night.
Damn, Cass.
You know what I'm saying? That's why I feel like I owe him the world, man, because he was arguing with me like, I don't do that outside, dick. I don't do that. He wouldn't have been in this situation, I feel, if I'd have just been like, man, all right, you ain't gotta come. Go ahead. You know what I'm saying? He never went out.
All right. So from Casanova's own mouth, Taxstone wouldn't have even gone out that night if he hadn't really convinced him to go. Now, for people that don't have the background, just a brief background of what happened. So Taxstone was an online personality. He was like a Twitter dude, always cracking jokes, saying funny things. He decided to reach out and get into podcasting because he saw an update. I remember him saying with like the iPhones where the podcast was going to have its own app on the iPhone, and he knew that podcast was probably about to blow up. So, he ended up getting into that lane. And fast forward, basically he would always talk a bunch of crap online about Troy Ave because Troy Ave would say he was representing a certain area, and he was like, we don't even know him, he ain't hard like that, whatever, right? So he would always antagonize and talk crap about Troy Ave, right? So that had been brewing and going on online for a long time, and there was some back and forth there. So very fast forward to the night in question. So Irving Plaza, there was a hip hop show going on there with several artists, and Taxstone was, just going to be there to watch the show. But Troy Ave was also there, part of the show. And he ended up, I guess whatever happened between them, because it's still unclear, but an associate of Troy Ave's ended up getting shot and killed and during that incident. And you could see on the security video that Troy Ave had like picked up the weapon and fired back at someone, or he fired at someone, and he was being charged. So it's been a mess. It's been a very long process. During the investigation, they're saying that Tax's DNA was found on like the bullets and parts of the gun that it would be like he was loading the gun himself that was found. So that's why he ended up locked up. Now he's maintained his innocence, but we haven't really heard details of what happened that night. And this case has been pending for years. Like Tax said, he's been in jail for 6 years. That's a long time to not even go to trial yet on this. So there's been allegations of snitching and all kinds of things, but at the end of the day, there's a lot of he said, she said. People are watching this, and the sad thing about it is Tax really was the first podcaster, I don't care what anybody says, that really brought that street edge to podcasting. Because before that, in the hip hop world, we kind of had like the music kind of nerds, like Rosenberg and Cypher Sounds had a podcast, but it was like, it wasn't all entertaining and everything. Charlemagne, Andrew Schultz had a podcast, but it wasn't hip hop based. It was more so like current pop culture, whatever was going on. So it was more like discussion based, politics, like I said, pop culture, whatever was going on, hip hop included, but it wasn't hip hop focus, and it didn't have that feel, right? Joe Budden began a podcast, and his podcast was kind of like a hip hop podcast, and it was really good. And Taxstone, though, he brought that street edge, that grunge, and he brought a whole new audience to the podcast lane. And if you were around back then, this is probably around 2014, 2015, I believe, somewhere around then you know what I'm talking about. So it's kind of sad that things ended up the way that they did over some, online words back and forth, because who knows where Tax would have been now if all of this hadn't happened. So we're still gonna wait and see what happens with his case, if we're gonna find out anything new, if he's gonna end up getting found guilty, what's gonna happen. Is anybody really behind the scenes snitching, saying whatever? We're gonna find out. I definitely miss Tax. I was a huge fan of his podcast. I really loved it. He was really going places. And Troy Ave, I don't know a lot about, so I can't speak on him positively or negatively, because I honestly don't follow him or know a lot about him. But and rest in peace to his friend that did end up losing his life during whatever happened at Irving Plaza that night, because that's a huge part that isn't really talked about enough. So we'll see what happens here. And let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think that it's smart for Tax to be making posts like this? Or do you think it's smart for Troy Ave Associates to be talking about stuff like this on other shows? Let me know what you think. Like, share, comment, and subscribe.